Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name is Sean Bell and I'm joined by James Farley.
Hello, Sean.
Hello, James. That was weird. And Matt Murray.
Hello, Sean.
Hello,
James.
Hello, Matt.
Very professional.
Yeah. This podcast is supported by Patreon, or people on Patreon, not Patreon themselves, people who sign up on patreon.com/TCGS. And you can support the show and get cool shit as a result. And one of those things you can get is your name read out at the start of the show. We have 3 Patreon producers this week. We have Alan M. Nash, Barney Sparkles, and Steve Garrett. Thank you. Cheers for that. Much appreciated. I've got nothing else to add at the start, so should we get straight on to feedback?
It's feedback time. Stuart Baker is the first one to send us a bit of feedback. Hi guys, this is a pretty last minute email, but just wanted to offer some feedback on last week's show, specifically the what we've been playing part. I genuinely find it hard to criticise someone's work to them directly because I hate the idea of coming across as a dick, and you guys are doing a really great job with everything. However, last week's what we've been playing lasted over an hour. It clocked in an hour and 8 minutes. It feels like a lot of the chat could be really condensed down to talk about aspects of the game, like your thoughts on the story, mechanics, graphics, etc. But often it turns into a play-by-play of playthroughs of the game. Sorry to signal Matt out here, but the chat on Cadence of Hyrule went on for a long time. With so much of it about Matt's playthrough, i.e. after that I did this, then I went here, did this, struggled on the boss, etc. Just feels like this section could do with some serious editing, condensing, and I found myself, not often, skipping through it before, which I hate to have to do. I hate it. Again, I hate sending criticism, but what else is feedback for, if not for the good and bad? I don't want to sound like I'm slagging off your work, but last week's What We've Been Playing was just too long and a tough listen. Hope you find this feedback in the genuine context it was meant. I'm not trying to upset anyone or be a dick. Love all the shows you're doing right now. That's from Stuart Baker.
I feel like you've taken that really well, Matt.
No, it's fine.
It sounds like you're fine with it, Matt.
Fine. Yeah. I mean, in terms of what we've been playing, we hadn't done it like the week before, weeks. Or 2 or 3 weeks before, had we? Because there's E3 and stuff.
Yeah, that sort of post E3 episode is always a long one in terms of what we've been playing because we've got like 3 weeks worth of stuff built up to talk about. So I'm not too sorry about it being a long one. I appreciate it's not some people's favourite bit of the show, but I think like we were quite clear that it was going to be a long one. So like, you are more than welcome to skip it if you want. It's fine. I'm not going to be upset about that. And I mean, more broadly speaking, yeah, like I guess, you know, it's a podcast. It is going to be a less edited thing. You know, we don't like make too many notes beforehand and stuff. That's just the way we like to do the show. I think it would be a different, like the feel of the show would be altered somewhat if it was like, you know, if we sort of really condensed it and really sort of thought about what we were going to say. I think it benefits from being a bit loose, but that's not to say we don't get it wrong sometimes.
No, I'll tell you one thing, Sean. I actually did make some notes on Cadence because I thought, okay, I really want to hear these various points. This is a question for you guys and the people at home. Name the last game I made notes for and then talked about. I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, and after counting 3, 1, 2, 3, it's Tacoma, everybody. Congratulations.
Okay, that's the last one people got upset
Tacoma
about.
Correct at home. Yeah, last game I talked about extensively and took notes. I was like, okay, I want to like really convey what I love about this game. I don't just want to mumble through like I do every podcast. How about I actually write down what I want to do, make sure it sort of flows, talk about it that way. Tacoma, and I did it with Cadence as well. So I think the lesson here, no notes, mumble through it in about 30 seconds and then move on. That's what I'm taking.
I thought we were supposed to take notes because I get hammered every time I don't bother when we do the Life is Strange one.
Yeah, that's different.
That's the Life is Strange one. That's where we do that's an entire episode of doing a forensic analysis of one episode of a game. Yeah,
we are dissecting every decision on that game and not on this show.
Didn't realise that.
How did you not realise that?
You don't understand the fundamental difference between talking around like 3 games you've played and doing an in-depth analysis of like 3 hours of one game.
That is excessive though. Like, you know, the amount we do for that.
What's excessive? The Life is Strange one?
Going through every single point. That could be a bit shorter as well, I reckon.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't be as funny.
God, you're starting to sound like Stuart Baker. I mean,
let's just not do the show, yeah? Let's
yeah,
edit it down to nothing.
James. Should we quit the Life is Strange spoiler cast because we go into too much detail? Anyway,
no, it's fine. It's just that if ever I don't take notes, everyone gets all annoyed. It's
because on those shows you're supposed to.
Yeah, but it's nice having the surprise, isn't it? When the things come back to you after you've played it about 3 months after, because Sean hasn't bothered playing it until that point.
That only happened once, and it was much quicker last time. So
much quicker. Anyway, sorry to disappoint you. I've got a huge what you've been playing section this week, but we'll.
I've seen the notes.
Yeah, we will.
Seen the notes.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to rip up the note. I'm going to delete the note I wrote in my phone, and we'll just freestyle it.
Cool.
I think out of the 12 games I'm going to talk about, I think I can remember most of the points. So
sure. Okay, Matt. How many of those are VR games as well?
Well, actually, James, the joke was I've got nothing to talk about on what you've been playing.
I know, but I was hoping you were going to bullshit a bit there, Matt, but you didn't.
Oh, Matt pushed it too far. We pushed it too far.
If I bullshitted, what would I say?
It ran out of steam. It was
James.
I was expecting you were just going to go on about it. You were going to describe what it was like to put the headset on and all that kind of thing, but never mind.
I wouldn't have done in the feedback section.
Okay.
Just to be clear, Stuart Baker, I appreciate that you, obviously you've criticised us, but you have tried to do it in the nicest way possible, and that is much appreciated. Some people aren't that nice.
Yeah, I will say, like Stuart Baker, you've put your head above the parapet. You've had the balls to email in to probably your favourite show available. And for that respect, well done you. Like, plenty more people should do that rather than maybe just, I don't know, disliking our videos on YouTube a second after they go up online. Or
just copying the three of us into the odd tweet at Dave saying, "Oh, when are you coming back, Dave? It's shit without you."
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, that's shit. But yeah, that basically repeated. Yeah, so you know what? Stuart, thank you for the feedback. I will take it on. I will try and be better. Every week I'll try and be better. But yeah, I do appreciate the feedback, good or bad. That's what this section's about. That's why we read it out.
We've just been quite lucky. We've not had that much negative feedback lately. It's been nice.
Yeah, it has been. I should probably just start.
Why did you say that, Sean? We are now going to get deluged.
Pulling the fucking sleeves up, right?
It doesn't matter, James. You're invincible on this show. You won't get any bad feedback.
That's not true at all.
You're bulletproof on this show. You're the housewife's favourite.
It's absolutely not true.
Absolutely. You're the golden boy on this show. It doesn't matter. You could say anything. And actually, James does have a point.
It's absolutely not true. We'll talk about this later. But it's absolutely not true.
Oh, God, right, what's next?
We're on to the next one. Barry Mitchell has tweeted in, I think HMV have been fairly decent about game prices, especially around launch. We're talking about pre-ordering and buying maybe in shops and rather than online. I pre-ordered Red Dead Redemption 2 and Spider-Man and collected them from local HMV on day of release. Prices were comparable to the likes of Shop 2 or even the supermarket.
No, fair dues.
I do remember HMV used to be crazy, but also like places like Shop 2 and Simply Games used to be a lot cheaper. And also, definitely, Shop 2 was the one I used to go to online. They always were maybe cheaper, but also definitely shipped early. So games arrive on Wednesday, Thursday. Yep. Shop 2 does feel like they've changed, and now Simply Games are the ones, it would appear, that they would often ship it for Thursday delivery.
Which, it's not their fault that they don't do that anymore. I'm assuming they were threatened with massive legal action that would close them down overnight.
I'm assuming it wasn't good for them.
But yeah, it was a nice time being able to get everything roughly one day early.
Talking about supermarkets, though, I don't think supermarkets do crazy deals anymore. I mean, do you both remember the Modern Warfare 2 deal?
Yeah.
Was
Tesco's had loads of ones like that, didn't they? Where it was you could go there and they had it much cheaper, like at launch. But I guess supermarkets go wherever the money is, don't they? And it's like they probably realise there's not much money.
Well, this is it, anymore. It was like, obviously I was one of those people waltzing into Morrison's I'm getting a cheap copy of Modern Warfare. I wonder why they're doing that. Oh, while I'm here, I'll get my week shopping, I suppose. Oh, right.
I think it's Sainsbury's. Wasn't it like 16 quid or something? Bonkers.
It was 20 quid, something like that.
Yeah, I remember going out again early and queuing because everyone's like, look, everyone's going to want to try and get these from Sainsbury's. I was there before it opened. I got my copy for £16, but you don't really hear anything like that these days, do you? You may or you may sometimes say, oh, if you get it from the supermarket, you get a certain pre-order bonus or some other thing that comes with it, but you rarely see the big supermarket deals anymore, sadly.
Yeah, and I think even when there is the occasional one, the internet just ruins it in minutes. ends up on Hot UK deals, and that's that. You're already too late. Like,
people have already bought like multiple copies on multiple accounts.
Yeah, they're like, I've got 50 copies I bought. They're all going on eBay. It's like, you fucking...
Oh, I can't believe the offer's been stopped. I wonder why. It's because people like you, mate. That's why.
Oh, well, I got mine, so that's all right. Just, on the subject of pre-ordering, I can't remember if I said last week, so I pre-ordered Mario Maker with Game because they had a thing on where basically if you traded stuff in against it, you got like 25% extra value on your trade-ins. I thought, you know what? I'm skint, so I'll do that. Got a ton of extra shit with it. Like,
oh yeah,
a massive like A4 notebook and a pencil and a sharpener and a lanyard for some reason and a little stylus, which is now all winging its way to James because his son's going to use it. But I was like, oh yeah, this is how they compete. I guess this is quite cool.
But did you know about that beforehand?
I didn't know. I gather like most people who pre-ordered it or bought it on the game website, whatever, knew this was happening. But I honestly had no idea. I was just like, I just want the normal version, assuming it was just the game and nothing else. And then when he slapped this massive bag on the counter, I was like, oh, fuck, what's this?
Yeah.
That was faintly magical.
Yeah,
that's a nice surprise.
Thanks again, Sean. And I'm sure that it won't infect my decisions made during the Game of the Year show that will be coming up at all.
No, you see, Dave mentioned this. I hadn't even considered that. I mean, I will now, obviously. But that wasn't initially my motivation for sending it over. But there you go.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember that time I sent you that? No. Yeah, I can see it happening now.
I remember, Matt, when you sent me a load of PS4 games, but then it turned out they were all Dave's anyway.
Well, I told you they were Dave's.
No, you didn't. not the time you didn't.
I didn't say they were mine. I wouldn't have bought Core Duty Ghosts. Anyway, Lee Morris, you have to start Evangelion calls. 2 episodes per show. I want to start watching it and I would love listening along. Plus, it's way more relevant than Star Calls. Also, Sam Quirk, shame JK Farley hasn't watched My Hero Academia in order to help out Matt, because My Hero James is a podcast I desperately wish I had in my feed. Sadly, it's been vetoed.
Yeah, I mean, for the title alone, My Hero James would be amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want us to have an anime podcast. I really don't.
What Weeb calls?
For those two, I couldn't do those at the moment anyway, because like Evangelion I saw like years ago, and I mean like a very long time ago. Like 10, 15 years ago, or whatever, whenever it was, and yeah, I don't remember a lot about it, so yeah, that wouldn't work. I'd have to rewatch the whole thing myself anyway.
And also Dave said he owns the calls license. I mean, I personally think it's part of the TCGS IP now. So
presumably we co-own it, seeing as I am the co-host of that show.
Yep. So
I mean, try telling Dave that.
Are you licensing out, or are you?
Talk to Dave about it.
No, I mean, I think it's part of our sort of IP. So I think it's fine, and we'll do whatever we want with it. We're going to end with Steve Williams. I have a fair solution to Matt's Splinter Cell E3 prediction stalemate. In that I keep predicting, Splinter Cell every year. It's going to happen next year, but now they're like, oh, no, you're not allowed. Matt should be allowed to vote for Splinter Cell again. Brilliant. However, if it is not mentioned, then Matt has to stream Resident Evil 7 VR as punishment. Thank you, gentlemen. Keep up the good work. I'll have to have a think about that.
I'd say it's quite a good idea.
Yeah, it is quite a good idea, but I'm going to have to... now I'm going to have to really put my money where my mouth is.
Well, also, I mean, I was thinking that Resident Evil 7 VR thing, that ought to be a Patreon stretch goal, to be honest. Yeah, for you, Matt.
No, it'd be pointless. No, it'd be stupid. Do you think the amount of times I have to take the headset off?
No, you wouldn't be allowed.
I mean, that's sort of part of the...
wouldn't be like, oh no, someone in chat saying don't, I'm going to do it anyway.
I mean, it's not supposed to be enjoyable for you, Matt, is the thing.
Yeah. I mean, it has crossed my mind, but my God, it'd be horrendous. So
yeah, I mean, I was like genuinely worried about you at several points during the Resident Evil 2 stint. So I think for health reasons, I would have to veto this.
I mean, I was genuinely close to throwing up playing Resident Evil 2. Imagine what I'm going to be like in VR playing Resident Evil 7.
I'd love to see that. Because I've played Resident Evil 7 in VR and it is horrendous. Like, I had to stop because it was scary.
And you were completely unfazed by the kitchen?
The kitchen
demo.
Was fine. That was nothing.
Yeah, you were just sitting there like...
Yeah. No, the actual game is far, far worse than that. It really messed me up. I was like, I can't do this. It's horrible.
Yeah, I remember watching like streams on launch week, and I was like, this just looks like the worst thing ever. So,
Yep.
not going to happen. But that's a good suggestion, Steve. I'll certainly think about it. That's it for feedback. If you want to leave us feedback, it's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter, or you can email podcast@thecomputergameshow.com.
Cool. James, have your kids ever gone through like a weird like overeating phase?
My daughter does sometimes.
Okay.
Not my son. He doesn't care about food.
Oh, fair enough. No,
He's not my son.
Go this.
I'm sorry, joke, but yeah.
We had this weird thing. Isaac just like barely ate for like an entire week, and we're like, oh my god, what's wrong with him? And then it was like he was making up for lost time. He just like he'd put, like when you have a dog and it's like, oh well, they just kept eating, so we just kept giving him food because they must have still been hungry. And it turns out he was just eating well beyond his capacity. So he would eat way too much dinner, and then he'd go for a bath, and then we just give him like a little, bit of milk, just to send him to sleep. And then he kind of sit up and then burp and then vomit everywhere because he's just ingested far too much food. And basically that I want that experience, but the food is news.
Okay, so you want me to make it so that you have to you sort of spew news all over yourself.
Yeah, like there's so much news has been jammed into me by my own hand.
Yeah,
but yeah, so much that it actually just comes bursting out again
and like
in
sprays
a sort of
all over
mashed
the place.
up. Yeah.
All in pieces, like just a big gooey mess, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So I don't remember hearing about it as carrot news, and then. I actually don't want that, James, but I'm more than happy to watch Sean spew up the news. Okay,
well, here is some news. The first bit is actually like a whole group of stories which are related around like Google Stadia, which have been kind of interesting. So
I assume they're all super positive.
Oh yeah, very positive. It's been a good week for Google Stadia. First of all, there's not going to be a beta for it, and this is apparently because Phil Harrison said that they're confident that it's just going to work, and they said it's true. And he also said it was unfortunate that we only ran the Project Stream test in the US, and even then it was only a relatively small subset of players. But you've all experienced it for yourself, and you know it works. This is when he was talking to like journalists. So they've had a small sample of people, and so they're confident it's going to work. So they're not going to bother having another beta. But he also reckons that Europe's internet is less diverse and more reliable than the US, so there's no need to test it in Europe. It'll be fine, apparently. So yeah, no testing, straight in there.
I mean, I guess I can't really comment about whether Europe's is is less diverse, but obviously you hear that it can be really, really bad in like Middle America and stuff. So maybe there's truth to that.
Yeah, just by the nature of there being more. Just America's fucking massive, isn't it? And there are huge expanses of it that aren't particularly built up, and therefore, by necessity, it's really hard to get a decent broadband connection out there because it's just not really justifiable. I don't know if they have any like government incentives for I know in the UK we have like Digital 2020 or whatever, which is like everyone's supposed to have 15. Meg internet or something by 2020, but obviously the problem with those targets is that like a reasonable broadband speed obviously keeps changing and keeps getting quicker. I don't know if there's anything similar to that in America. I've no idea. But
I mean, the only thing I ever get is like from listening to like American podcasts talking about tech is they just moan all the time about how terrible like Comcast are and all that, and how it's all like a big monopoly and that it's not great.
Yeah,
and also
the
there's no
choice.
choice. Yeah, there's no choice, and there's just data caps, and it just sounds horrible. But,
I will say, him saying there's no beta, that's not true, because the Founders Edition is the beta, isn't it?
It is,
That's the only way to play and watch,
it's a beta, but you're paying for it. That's the whole point.
Yeah. What you meant to say is there's no free beta, but if you want to pay £119, you can be a founder, aka beta test, because that is the only way, right, to play at launch. Am I right in thinking that?
That is correct,
yeah. So,
and it's just mad, like, the money that Google's got, why not just be like... Here's like a popular indie game or something that everyone can have a go at for free and see if it works or not. Unless they're scared that it won't fucking work.
Well, they did that.
There is that.
They did that with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, didn't they? When they did the test, but that
was only in America.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and like imagine like a free weekend and everyone can just test it in their Chrome browser.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the trouble is, if they did that, it would crash because potentially
that's the thing, isn't it? they know, like they're like, oh yeah, we're confident it does work as long as the only people that can get in are doing so through a paywall, effectively.
Yeah, and the people that paid £120, they're probably less likely. I think that because they've already, financially bought into the service, they're probably more predisposed to actually give it potentially a bit more of a positive view. I don't know. I mean, there's that as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Who knows? But yeah.
But it's like, sometimes you get, like demos or betas that have, it's like, oh, it's a network stress test. And then, so you have a weekend to play it and the servers are fucked. And like sometimes, you'll get one where they're like, oh, we know the servers are fucked. We're really sorry. We're extending it another week or whatever. But sometimes they're just like, well, yeah, like loads of people, like far too many people tried to play the game. And statistically, 90% of you fuckers aren't going to buy it. So actually everything's about right. Like,
yeah.
Like that does happen occasionally.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that happened. Like, was it the Anthem free weekend? And I think they got extended because there's no way of testing.
One, yeah. Because they're like, oh, we want everyone to play the fixed version of it. We've fixed all the bugs, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, was I expecting a beta? I mean, there's so many betas for everything these days. I guess part of me probably was, but also the fact that not have one doesn't surprise me.
Well, they figured out, didn't they, that as you said, people will pay to beta test it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
They're probably not that bothered.
Yeah.
And also the Project Stream thing felt like the beta in many senses, but it's gonna be a fun weekend, isn't it? That first launch weekend of Stadia.
Well, also, if you look at what the current lineup is, so this is the other thing that happened was that they talked with, I think it was with Eurogamer, they were talking about, Phil Harrison was basically saying that the games on Stadia are not going to be any cheaper than you would currently expect on anything else. So the current lineup they've got is Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein Youngblood, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 15, Rage 2, Football Manager, Borderlands 3, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and Mortal Kombat 11. I assume that what they mean by that in this article is that that's the launch lineup, and that's what it will have like ready to go as soon as they go. Which doesn't
Did you say Baldur's Gate 3?
Yes.
Well, just says
that's not out soon, is it?
Yeah, it just says the list of games confirmed. It doesn't say confirm when they're coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how many games they've got confirmed. That's not a big list.
That's not massive, is it?
No.
Yeah.
So
and crucially, there's nothing because there's no indie stuff. Which all right, that's me moaning that there's no indie stuff because I really like indie stuff. But if you've got the setup, like indie stuff is really useful for people just being like, oh, okay, well I'll spend a tenner here or there to try a few things out. Whereas they're all big games that are all going to be like 40 quid each.
And also, some of those are already out. People have already played them. Is the other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely right about that with the indie stuff because Sony totally profited from that at the beginning of the PS4's life, and Nintendo have done the same with the Switch as well. Where it's like during the lean times in terms of like the big releases, there's always really good indie stuff on it, and it's just just go for all that. So it is weird that they don't seem to be going for that. But Phil Harrison himself said, I don't know why it would be cheaper in terms of these games, and I think. His argument is that Stadia's unique selling point is that it can be played on multiple devices, and that's what makes it worthwhile to buy to stream rather than download. But then the thing with that is that you can't play it on multiple devices at launch. Like, you can't do that straight away anyway. But, I don't know.
And plus, you don't own it, and you don't know if it's going to work all the time. Like, there are loads of reasons people expected it to be a bit cheaper.
I didn't at all. I never once thought, hang on, I'm going to get his games for like 30 or cheaper than. No, I thought no way. Like
I don't think anybody expected. Sorry,
what do you expect?
Well, I don't think anyone expected they were going to be cheaper, but what people were definitely expecting was that there was going to be some sort of like library, like Game Pass or PS Now or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what people were absolutely expecting with this, and they're not doing that at all. So it's like, it's weird, because it's like, why would you do this? Like, why would you buy any of these games?
Those are two separate arguments. People, everyone, myself included, expected there to be some sort of... and basically, my best thing isn't Netflix, but actually Amazon Prime, whereby there is a huge library of games, but you can pay for potentially new and or premium or other content, just like you do on Amazon Prime Video. I expected that. You don't get that. But I also never really expected these to be cheaper games at all. The benefit is exactly as he says. The benefit is the fact you can play them everywhere. Obviously, you can't do it at launch. But I don't. Did anyone seriously think that they were re-releasing these games? You know,
Well,
Ghost Recon Breakpoint and stuff like that cheaper than the console versions. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But
Well, no,
surely
because
no,
the thing with
not by a huge margin, but just like.
Well,
you know, like the PC versions are generally cheaper because they're, broadly speaking, they're less convenient. Like, I know there's other reasons, like there's no, you know, like you haven't got Sony or Microsoft or whoever, like, taking a huge cut of the sale or whatever. But, like, to me, that's, like with PC stuff, it's like, well, I generally can't be arsed playing stuff on the PC, but if it's like 10, 15 quid less, I'll consider it. And I don't know, like, if Google Stadia works as well as they say it does, and I, you know, like I totally got into the convenience of playing it on different devices and stuff, then like, yeah, it's like the same as the Switch, isn't it? People generally pay the same or maybe even a bit more for Switch versions of things because of the convenience of it. I feel with this, it's so much at the mercy of the network and the infrastructure and whether or not that behaves 100% of the time. And so, yeah, I'm just super wary of it still.
But you see, I think the other reason why people may think this is because of Google's track record with their services. Because when you think Google, you think they come into a market and then release something for free and then just hoover everything up. Like if you look at like Google Docs, like Gmail, all that kind of stuff, they went into markets and they just like released it for free with ad supported or whatever, and then. You know, that's how they sort of took things over. I think people probably, maybe not, you know, maybe sort of subconsciously were thinking they're going to come into this and do a similar sort of disruptive thing.
Yeah, but you have to be stupid if you figure a thing like that. I mean, like, the Google Docs and stuff, they could do it because that's all on their own, that's all them doing it. They're not having to link with third-party people. Like, here they have developers and build, you know, and like, you know, devs, large developers, smaller ones, you know, they have people to work with. They can't do everything themselves. That's why this is never going to be free because other people need paying, and rightfully so.
Yeah, but you'd still think that
free.
They could do this
crazy.
but you'd still think they could do something on the scale, seeing as it will all be like if it was like all ad supported and everything. You could at least do like reduction or something, so it was a bit cheaper or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
but okay, that's an option. I mean, I personally much rather pay full price and no ads than.
Well, you would, but other people don't care about that, do they? I mean, that's why people, you know, will pay for.
What would you rather? Okay, would you rather pay, say, you know, whatever the going price of Borderlands 3 is? Let's say it's 40 quid for the sake of argument. Would you pay 40 quid for Borderlands 3? Or would you actually pay like 35, but there's ads everywhere?
Well, yeah, but that's the thing, because obviously I would rather do that, but a lot of other people wouldn't, because if what you're saying is true, then everybody would pay for YouTube Prime, you know, because they didn't want to see adverts ever.
Yeah, possibly.
It's, you know, some people don't care, like, about seeing adverts and things. I mean, you know,
this argument isn't even about adverts, because that isn't something they've even mentioned. But I never for one second believed or hoped. Well, I might have hoped, but I never for 1 second believe that these games could be cheaper. The reason they're the same price is because you get the benefit of playing, hopefully, if everything works, on every device you own, providing you own a Google Pixel.
But it's such a big if everything works. Yeah. It's like,
but that's. I mean, that's largely the same as, you know, like if Xbox Live doesn't go down or PSN.
It's not. It's not at all the same. If like,
because you can still get like a lot of functionality out of those devices because you've got the device and you've got the game stored locally. You can still do stuff with it. Yeah, like. It's not the same as like, literally nothing works.
This is all dependent on whether the tech works. But I'm saying, you know, you could level that same thing. I mean, like, there's loads of games I've tried to play on Xbox. I can't Xbox Live's down or PSN's down. I know it really happens. I know they've got like a massive track record in, like, you know, in stable services largely. And this is totally new. But I mean, the benefits are the fact you can play everywhere, hopefully, and let's see what happens and hope it works, I guess.
See, what it is that I thought is I just thought that Google were going to come into this with something a lot more disruptive than they have done. And that
I've got to agree there. Yeah,
and sure. A lot of that would be around like pricing or around like having like the Netflix for gaming library or something like that. And they haven't got any of those things. It's just really odd.
That's really surprising, actually.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing they don't...
and I take, like, you know, Matt's point that, like, yeah, there's third parties here who need paying. Google have quite a big wallet. And
they do,
I think if they understood that actually this is quite a hard sell for a lot of people, which I don't think they do seem to have grasped that, then they could have just subsidised everything for a bit to get people on board. Look, it all works.
That's a dangerous road to go down, isn't it?
Well,
that's what Microsoft are doing with Game Pass and
it is,
backwards compatibility. They're making fuck all off that, but they know it gets people on board.
Yeah,
So,
but Microsoft have to do it because they need to do something to turn it around next generation. Like I think Google probably know that the future is in streaming. It may not be this year, next year, maybe 5 years. Who knows what it's going to take for it to be commonplace. I think it will become commonplace at some point down the line. I mean, many years ago, I wouldn't have ever thought I'd be streaming music or streaming, movies and TV shows because I'm like, well, obviously I need all my music on my device or I need Blu-rays or DVDs, and like now that's just commonplace. And I think maybe, the infrastructure will catch up and systems will, and this is the future. I think it will be fundamentally in like a few years' time. They probably understand that, and if we start subsidizing now, it's just going to be dangerous. I mean, but I fully get what you're saying, though, James. I really thought they would be come out of a product that really does. With all the money they've got, with all the infrastructure, that would be blowing the doors off everything. But right now, it's just like some games which are either out or about to come out on the consoles we already own. The benefits of playing on every device. I mean, I'm not sure if this even fits into my lifestyle, frankly, but I'm interested to see where it goes. But I thought they would have done more.
See, I mean, unfortunately, streaming... I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the concept, but I think, it probably will be the future as it goes. But then the whole point of that is that whatever platform you're using, it will be about the content that you're playing, and it'll be about what it can offer you. And that's why, like, Microsoft are spending all this cash, to, like, do Game Pass and everything, so that they've got it already there. And this is the thing that Google still don't seem to have, is they don't seem to have content. And they said that they built these studios. It's like, well, we've not seen anything at all, like, about what's coming out from them. And then the other story that came out from it this week was, there was that game, Guilt, that was Tequila Works, and it was supposed to be confirmed as an exclusive for Stadia. This is apparently not true. So Tequila Works talked to Eurogamer, and it wasn't confirmed that it's exclusive for Stadia. And, I mean, this is the quote. They said, okay, we haven't confirmed that it's an exclusive yet. That's a question we cannot answer. And then Eurogamer then asked whether it was a timed exclusive, and then they said again that they couldn't answer. And then it was really weird, because then Eurogamer said to them, what about the problematic message you're sending to fans who have to pay £120 to play your new game? And then they responded by saying, maybe that would be a question for Google. Like, that's just that's just insane. It's just, it's like, wow. It's clear that they haven't worked this out yet, and it's just odd that they showed that and said it was exclusive when it doesn't appear to be.
Yeah, that is really strange. And the fact that they're willing to kind of throw Google under the bus on that suggests that maybe the relationship there isn't fantastic at the moment. It also
just looks like they're not, like Google are not really serious about this, like in a big way.
Yeah.
In like working with people, it's really odd.
Yeah, really strange.
But then, I mean, again, I thought they would have chucked money to get some big exclusives, but
yeah, why not?
But also, I mean, they would have had to chuck a lot of money because would you really tie your game to as an exclusive to a platform where obviously right now it has 0 users, and you're literally chucking like 100 million PS4s and 50 million Xboxes. Like, I don't think there's any amount of money you can really be offered to say, oh yeah, we'll keep the game we're going to slave night and day over for this new unexplored platform.
If you're a small team, then you take whatever money you can get. The existence of small devs is incredibly precarious.
If you get like a bunch of those and you just say to them, "We'll bankroll what you're doing," then I'm sure they probably jump at that.
That is way safer than just like trying to exist while you make the game and then putting it out, and maybe no one fucking buys it, and then that's it. You're done.
Yeah, I guess Google could have like guaranteed, we're going to promote this, do this, and the other. But then there's like 150 million consoles on one side. There's 0 on the other. It's
But then people took exclusivity deals for the Ouya.
That's a bigger point. And thank God Towerfall came out on other consoles.
Yeah, like it does just make business sense in most cases to just take the money up front if it is available. No matter, even if you think it is a doomed platform, if the people are willing to pay you to make your game, then obviously you look at the terms of the contract, and as you say, like with Towerfall, it was like, it was a New Year exclusive at first, but then it came to other stuff, and thank God it did, because it's a classic and it deserves to be played by more than 3 people. Most devs will take the safe route, and that is entirely fair enough, to be honest.
And I'm happy this is coming to all consoles, because Tequila Works are a great studio.
It might play without any lag. You've got to ask Google whether that's happening or not. It's not entirely clear. So the last piece I've got on that's related to all this streaming stuff is that GamesIndustry.biz commissioned a survey by Ipsos Mori, their Game Track service, to find out what people in Europe felt about streaming games. And it turns out that 70% of people in UK, France, and Germany and Spain said they're not interested at all in a video game streaming service. And of the remaining amount, the remaining 30%, 15% said they were interested in a Netflix-style streaming service, but the remaining, another 12% were either don't know or already using a service. So, yeah, and only 3% said they were very interested in doing this. And the UK had the strongest interest out of all of them, but still only 23%. It's
interesting. I mean, you could just put this down to because certainly the camp I'm in is I just want to see that it works.
Yeah.
I think there are certain types of games it will never be quite good enough for, just because of the laws of physics and the amount of distance that the information has to travel. But for a lot of the things I play, it might be okay. I just want to see it working in my house, and I don't want to have to pay any money to see if that's a thing or not.
See, I think people are still attached to objects as well. Do you know what I mean? As in consoles and things like that. And there is something nice and something good about having something which is dedicated for something and has been designed to do that. And you lose that with this, I think, which is a shame.
It's interesting, Sean, you said there about I want to see it working in my house. That's the last place I want to see it working. I expect it will work in my house. I want to see it working on my Google Pixel phone. No, I want to see it working, on 4G or 5G. I want to see it work on Wi-Fi in work. That's
fair.
At home, I mean, I could probably play the games on Stadia on a console, but it's out in the world, which I think right now that's probably where I'm most likely to be playing this if I play this at all. And like I said, I really don't know how this fits into my lifestyle at all, but I'm obviously excited in the technology and excited to see where it's going to go. But I think you can tell any story with stats, can't you? You can rework them, but
you can
just
3% with facts. It's
every stat can be reworked and repositioned in a different way, but the whole 3% are very interested. It's very telling.
Depends on how it's been surveyed as well, the questions they've asked and how they've asked it and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is a concern I think about this. I mean, I saw in our Discord somebody was talking about how ebooks purchased from Microsoft are going to be deleted this month. If you bought them from the Microsoft store, they all get deleted. The good news is you get a refund, but then they're still deleting them all. It's odd. But yeah, I mean, this is the problem, isn't it, with the ownership? You just don't own stuff anymore, which isn't great.
Yeah, because at least I think if you buy them on Kindle, can you not export them as an EPUB thing?
Probably,
I think you can get them as a format, but I don't know. I guess it's all the same people that are upset because the Zune Marketplace closed down and or Microsoft Groove. Just don't trust in Microsoft services apart from Game Pass.
It's the same for Google though, isn't it? It's they close services all the time. It's always frustrating. It's it's irritating. I still mourn Google
Buzz?
Reader. That was Google Reader was brilliant.
Google Wave.
Yeah, Wave, obviously, and Buzz.
Wave, Buzz, Google Plus, all the biggies.
How many chat clients did they release last year? Wasn't it about 3 or 4 different services they tried to launch?
Don't get me started on Google's chat clients.
How many things have you got installed? Actually, probably less now. You had to delete everything, but
well, this is the thing, right? So I deleted everything except Google's Messages app, which is SMS, and it's also Google's all singing, all dancing new messaging platform that's supposed to be replacing everything. Hangouts is going, Allo is going. Hangouts. I think Hangouts for businesses is sticking around, but for general text chat is going. So it's just all through the Messages app. Except I don't know if this is a problem unique to the UK. I don't know if it's better in the US. Basically, in the UK, there are only certain phones and certain networks that support this new messaging standard that they're implementing.
Well. Yeah,
So basically, I had 2 people in my entire phone book who I could use the new messaging stuff with. Everyone else just went to SMS. So that's fucking useful,
Brilliant.
isn't it? Yeah, really good. And it's weird because it is actually a lot nicer, and the sort of the auto suggestions for replies and stuff are actually quite good. They're often a bit robotic, but did I tell you about the Fiat 500 incident?
No.
So this was when me and my brother were trying out Allo, when that first came out, because it had most of these new features and stuff. And he just sent me a picture of when it had been snowing loads out, like basically been like a blizzard outside his house, and he sent me a picture out like his view out of the front window, and his wife's car, which is Fiat 500, covered in snow, was in the shot. And when he sent me that picture, the auto response, like one of the auto responses was like, "Oh wow, nice Fiat 500." And I was
wow,
like, "Fuck, that is terrifying." So it is quite impressive, but also really creepy. It's just basically just Google, isn't it? In general.
Yeah, that's great. That's brilliant. I mean, maybe
can't live without it, but it is scary.
Because obviously on on Gmail there is like a sort of like not auto response, but there's bubbles at the bottom and a message where you can
like auto-complete sentences.
Yeah, basically
and
complete your sentences. I can't wait to see how to implement that sort of stuff with Stadia. You know, you get like the feeds on like Xbox and PlayStation with like pictures. Yeah, it's just
you're playing a game and it's like, do you want to just press the tab key and you'll just shoot all the enemies? Because that's what you're going to do anyway.
But I think in the newsfeed, it's just like, so it's just James wants to autocomplete. So yeah, like, did you actually finish this, Matt? And it will list every game because it's gone in my Gmail or Google Docs and it says, well, hang on, like Matt mentioned Night in the Woods here. Yeah, it's just the entire newsfeed. It's just going to be filled with like 1,000 messages auto completed just from robots. Can't wait.
Okay, next story is that Nintendo have reaffirmed that they won't censor third-party games.
Okay.
Yes.
So this was.
Is this because of all the weird tick games that are appearing on the Switch?
Well, no. This was at a shareholders. It was their like annual general meeting, and it was a shareholder question, and they made a pointed remark that they weren't going to take Sony's approach of like aggressive regulation of sexual content, and he said that the content ratings would be left to organisations like the ESRB. And that parental controls would fix any other issues that there were.
I mean, the thing is, I don't know anything about Sony's approach, but like, because Nintendo has caught flack from perverts in the past, for like, oh, this game's come out.
And... James, you okay?
Fuck off, Sean. Not Sean, Matt.
Oh, he fucked it. Oh, he's lost it.
No, but I mean, I'm talking about instances where, like, so a game's imported. Oh, it's not ported. It's come to the West, and like. A character who was previously 14 and showing cleavage has covered up a bit and it says she's 16. It's like, that's because that game released here would be illegal. Yeah. Like, it's not even really an editorial decision. It's if you don't do it,
it's just the law.
Literally can't come out here. Yeah. Like it's. But I mean, so what have Sony been up to then? Because this is the first I've heard about this.
Well, because Sony have been censoring quite a lot of stuff to the point where there was one game I think that was called Omega Labyrinth Life, which had to be like completely like reworked, like bits of it, because they have like really started aggressive, like especially like Dead or Alive Extreme 3, like that was censored like a lot, and like it says here, I mean it says third party developers are concerned. Like there's one company called Inti Creates that made that the Galgun games, and they said they may no longer be viable on Sony consoles anymore because but then Nintendo said that they didn't think it was the role of the platform holder to do that, and that it would hurt diversity in the market if they arbitrarily chose what content to allow. But it's just weird hearing this coming from Nintendo, because when I think of censorship, I always think Nintendo for some reason, because in the past there was a lot of that.
They've been super strict about this
stuff. This is not the same team who also says, there's no voice chat because we're protecting kids.
Like, well, that's the point though, because they'll say that they've got tools that allow it so that they can do this, and it's not a problem. Whereas that doesn't really have any connection with like the content. I mean, they have censored images on the eShop, like where they have like all those like pictures and stuff, and they've like censored stuff from that. That's not censored in Japan, obviously. But again, that's like probably a legal thing, and I don't know.
I mean, it feels weird. I mean, again, I don't know what sort of content exactly they're talking about, but like, using like diversity as the reason to allow like games like Galgun, which do sort of sexualize teenagers. I'd find that a little bit distasteful, but I don't know.
Yeah,
not enough to get upset about.
It's definitely the role of the platform holder to protect their users. Surely they're the people that the buck stops with this stuff. Like, yes, they got procedure in and policies in for their third-party developers and people putting games in their systems to make sure they hold to those rules. But ultimately, it stops with Nintendo. And if it isn't legal, certainly, but if it doesn't abide by their own policies, they've got to be the ones putting their foot down. Yeah,
it's pretty poor for them to be like, hey, well, it's not us making the games; we're just profiting from them. Like it's pretty weak.
It's just so weird that comes from Nintendo. It's just...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Very strange.
I mean, I've just put a picture in. I mean, this doesn't help the listener, obviously, because it's a visual thing. But you can see in the Discord, I just put a picture, which is this is how things have been censored for one game. So you've got like the PC version. I mean, for anyone who's listening, it's like basically a girl laying down, and you can see quite a lot. But the PS4 version's got all this like it's got like light beams going across it to like hide everything. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, so many times when people cry censorship, you look at what they're defending, and it's usually just something that's really rubbish anyway. Like, yeah, and especially, in the case of like romantic, visual novels and stuff, I'm just like, oh, Christ, do what you want. I can't even bring myself to have an opinion on it. Do I worry about like my kid one day seeing stuff like this? I mean, as soon as he gets on the internet, you can see loads worse. But then that's a poor excuse for? Yeah, I don't know.
There are no light beams on the internet, Sean.
There are no light beams on the internet.
I guess I'm into. I mean, like on one hand, should people be able to play what they want? Yes, but also go to other places for that shit. There are plenty of places to play these games and experiences elsewhere. You don't. Yeah, like you don't see on every console, and certainly not on a Nintendo one.
Yeah, you don't see porno DVDs just like out on the at the front of the store in HMV. It's
sadly not anymore. They put them right to the back. You really have to ask these days. But it's just
you have to ask the staff. Yeah.
But it's just go to if you're into this stuff, get a PC and play them on Steam like all the other perverts. Like don't expect to find them in the eShop next to fucking Mario Maker and Zelda. Get that muck off my eShop now.
Yeah.
Sorry, James.
That's right, Matt. Anyway, Valve are sorry for Steam's summer sale event that led to users removing games from their wish lists. Have you heard about this?
This was silly, wasn't it?
This is bad.
So they were holding this thing that was called the Steam Summer Sale Grand Prix, and what it was customers could win games on their wish lists, and Valve encouraged users to look at their wish list to ensure games that they wanted were definitely on there. However, what this meant is that then loads of people just started stripping stuff out of their wish list that was anything indie, and started just filling it up with just like, obviously, the big publisher
more
games and everything because they were worth more money.
Yeah.
Valve didn't explain that winners would only get the top game in their list, and there was absolutely no need to remove like any of the other games from the list. But then the blowback's been not great because there was a developer that told Eurogamer from this story that said wishlist numbers are crucial for these devs. Losing huge chunks of their potential customers could be the difference between success and failure for them. So Valve reacted and released a clarification message, but it just seems really poorly thought through and a terrible idea.
Yeah, I mean, because you add things to your wish list, just like on someone might tweet about a game that's not out for 6 months. You're like, oh, that looks really cool. Wish list it. Don't think about it ever again. Until it comes out or it's on sale or whatever. The point is, you get a notification about that. Whereas, if I went out and stripped out my wish list now, I couldn't tell you 5 minutes afterwards what half of those games were, probably.
Yeah.
So it's, the fact that Valve issued a clarification isn't helpful because I couldn't then go back and be like, oh, right, actually, I'll go and re-add all those games to my wish list again. So, yeah, pretty dumb.
Yeah, absolutely screwed developers again.
Yeah. I mean, what's been fascinating about this Steam sale is that, it's like, so for example, Astroneer was on my Steam wish list and I got an email, oh, Astroneer's on sale. If you want to buy Astroneer, it's now like £14 down from 20 odd. And I'm just like, do you know how much it is on Game Pass? Fuck all, mate. So, I mean, obviously that's not fair because there's stuff on Steam that isn't on Game Pass, like quite a lot of stuff, in fact. But it does make you think like, oh yeah, like I'm not buying a lot of things from Steam now. That's just how it is. So yeah.
But yeah, it's a major fuck up really by Steam. Yes, another one. I don't know what they can even do to rectify it. It's just, it can't be fixed. Sadly, nope. It's not great for little devs, but anyone really.
Shite.
Okay, last story, which is, this is just a quick one, was that Remedy have now got they own Alan Wake again. It's come back for them from Microsoft, so. People are now speculating this is probably going to mean Alan Wake on PlayStation at some point.
See, I've never got into Alan Wake, but I know some people fucking love it. Yeah,
yeah. I played through. Yeah, I played it, loved it. Thought it was really good.
Yeah.
So
was it just the one? I thought it was there too.
Yeah, is there one or two?
No, there was Alan Wake, and there was Alan Wake. I think it was called American Nightmare or something like that, which was like a sort of a add-on DLC kind of thing, although not a separate game. But it was it was not as long as the first one.
Yeah,
it's weird. Like I would have thought this is something else in Microsoft's back pocket that they could, get out there, but maybe they felt like there wasn't enough of a need for it, or they could easily let it go.
Well, I also heard that. I mean, I've heard rumours. People have said, maybe like Sony were going to, buy Remedy as well. Was one of the other rumours that was going around, and maybe this is connected with that. I don't know. But it's But because is it Control they've got they're working on at the moment, which is supposed to
be out in August. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that.
I can't wait for Control. Cool. I think Control is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's the end of the news.
Wicked. Right. What have we been playing? Matt, what have you got, mate?
Start. I played nothing this week, guys. I'll be honest with you.
You're literally nothing.
I played I played Bloodborne, of course. I played a little bit of VR stuff like Oculus Quest, but we're going to talk about it next week because I want a bit more time with it. And that's it. So many apologies to everyone hoping to listen to a good 45 minutes of, gaming systems, processes, what buttons I press, etc. Sadly, that won't be happening this week, but I'll make sure it's playing notes for next week's show. Believe me.
Fair dues. James, we have played the same game, haven't we?
We have. We played Mario Maker 2.
Oh, I'm really excited to hear about this.
So I haven't put a huge amount of time into this yet because I was away over the weekend, so I've only sort of chipped in. I haven't made anything yet, but it is already seeming like something pretty fucking special.
Yes.
You would agree with that, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I played it over the weekend, probably not as much as I wanted to because it was a busy weekend, lots of things to do, but because weekends are awful.
We all know how busy you are.
Lots of driving.
Yeah. I got burnt to fuck this weekend. It was horrible.
We know that because you couldn't attend your Friday night stream because of sunstroke.
Yeah, it was
losing
horrible,
money because of this.
That wasn't good, and there was loads of other stuff as well. It was just annoying. But anyway, this came out, and it does feel like they've improved on everything like the original set out to do, like with the usual sort of Nintendo caveats that there are. So the bad things, obviously, the online isn't great. The friend code sharing, obviously it works, but it's not at all intuitive. And there's things with it that you can, you think that maybe you want to do, and you think, oh, you can't do that, but then you kind of can. Like, I saw David was tweeting about, why can't you just, see what your friends are doing and all that? And you can. You just have to... But it's not obvious how to do it.
You have to follow them separately, don't you? Within
you have
Mario
to
Maker,
you have to follow the creator, and then you get there's a star on the end of the the page where if you click that, then you get all the creators ones that have been put there. So that's it does work. All those sorts of things do work. But I tried playing the online multiplayer, and it was kind of laggy. At least
was it?
Yeah, the times I tried it, it didn't work very well. So that's kind of disappointing. But then,
so what is the online multiplayer exactly?
You can do things there's co-op mode, so you can play through levels together. At the moment, only with random people, and then also there's competitive multiplayer, which things who gets through the level first, who collects the most coins, all that kind of thing. It's it's kind of, you remember with Mario Run how it had the rush, was it the rush mode? I can't remember.
I can't remember what it's called, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
there was that. It's kind of like that, but in real time. So you can you can do all that kind of thing. Which is
so the first one is co-op. The second one you said it's competitive. The first one you can play co-op together, or what? Yeah,
you can go through levels together. But the problem with that is it's if you're playing with randoms, why would you want to do that? The fun of that would be playing it with someone else. And this is another game where Nintendo have got that voice chat app that on for your phone. This isn't on there. That's obviously not being added because you can't play together anyway. So what was the point? So that's a massive shame, though, isn't it? Because you could have. This is the kind of game where you could have community nights and everything with, if you could organise it properly. Whereby people are playing together, in groups or whatever, challenging each other on different levels. There's so many things you could do with this, but they've just not bothered yet. And also the lag is not really that great. But there's already some amazing levels online, and there was one that I really liked, which was... Have you seen any of the uploaded ones, Sean?
In what sense? Yeah, I've played a few ones from strangers and some that mates have made and stuff, yeah.
Did you see the table tennis one?
Oh no, I've not. I've seen a Pong one.
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, this is the Pong one.
Yeah.
Have you played it?
Yes,
because I thought that was genius. Like it's really
it's
clever.
so clever.
It's like
really
it's
good.
like you sort of go into the level and then it's got like these two platforms where if you jump, it will then knock it up. So then you've got a shell going from side to side, and you have to sort of play Pong basically with it. And
so you're jumping to knock your sort of your bat up and down.
Yeah.
And it's really clever.
And if the shell goes behind your bat, then it hits like a power block, and so you get like 3 of those before it comes down and kills you. And it's like, it's cool. It's a really good idea. There's been lots of like really interesting levels like that, but I still feel the only issue is going to be discoverability in the future. Because at the moment it's fine, but the service is going to be inundated with shit levels like over time. And I don't know. And I also, at the moment, there doesn't seem to be any events, because that was the thing that was really cool with the Wii U version, is that they had like kind of regular events where there was like Nintendo had uploaded levels as well, or there was like competitions and stuff, and that was brilliant. It was great. Like every week you go up there and you'd see like there'd be a load of like themed levels around like whatever they were running, and that was really cool. But there's nothing like that so far. Have you played any of the story mode so far, Sean?
I have. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's been really fascinating because I sort of I viewed it as like, oh well, it's Mario Maker with a campaign, so it's Mario Maker plus like a Mario campaign, but actually it's not quite like that, is it? It's not just like another Mario game. It's very much like they've understood like what's different about Mario Maker and the way it sort of pays tribute to sort of the ROM hacking side of things. So even among those sort of Nintendo built levels, like it's all sort of really sort of weird, interesting stuff with like all systems bouncing off each other and stuff like like the level where you're not allowed to jump.
Yeah. Oh, that was difficult. Yeah.
So good though. Like it starts out like you're just avoiding obstacles and stuff, and you're kind of like, okay, this is fine. And then there's like a bit where there's a gap you can't cross, and then above you there's a load of boos who are like holding. I forget what they're holding, but basically like platforms.
The things.
Yeah. So you have to like maneuver them so that they like. So that they drop all these platforms, which then fall into the place, the gap that you then run over, but without getting hit by the boos, and just weird stuff like that. Like ones with like really convoluted like mazes, sort of revolving around, like going through different doors and appearing out of other doors. But then there's like there's blocks that are either solid or not, depending on whether you've hit a switch elsewhere, and just loads of really weird, interesting stuff like that. Like it doesn't just feel like, oh well, they also made some normal Mario levels to sweeten the pot a bit. Like it's all really interesting stuff.
Well, yeah, because it's all like clearly designed to sort of teach you what you can do, like what
what's possible with it.
What the game is capable of, and gives like a lot of really good ideas for like how to sort of go through things, which is cool. I mean, also I think the addition of the victory conditions is probably. I mean, I'm hoping that's going to make level creation a lot more interesting as well. That's that's another like massive plus point. It's just I just wish that the online worked properly, because it's a shame that you can't play this stuff co-op. Because I mean, at the moment we're all sharing levels and everything on Twitter, and it'd be nice if you could like play your levels with other people, in a simple way, because then you can get like feedback and everything.
It's absolutely crazy you can't do that. I know they made comment, didn't they, after people kicked off? So what have they actually said is potentially happening? Have they said
it's going to happen? It's just it's a future update, but that could be ages away. Don't know whatever they're thinking about. Maybe if they've got to contact whoever develops the app and add it, then that's going to take quite a while, isn't it? Because
in campaign, is there actually a story, or is it?
Kind of.
You're rebuilding a castle, and I mean, this is also where like there's comparisons with Mario Run. It's basically the same thing. Yeah, it's like you're rebuilding the castle, and you do it by doing these levels, and you get coins for doing the levels, and then you can then afford to like rebuild parts of it. It's simple. But as Sean said, the main point of this though is to sort of showcase like what you can do, and like the sort of although apparently there are some levels in this that you can't do with Mario Maker. They've like cheated a bit in places, but
oh really?
Yeah, but it's still good. I mean, I've only put one level out, and I got a lot of abuse for that, so I've got to go back to that. So it turns out people don't like hard levels. People don't like to be challenged.
Oh, you see, 'cause this is what I found really interesting. Is so like just sort of going through Twitter and trying levels that people have made, and like so Dave made one which was like really cool, but it wasn't like too hard. Whereas, like Chris Span, he's well into his like ROM hacks and his weird Kaizo stuff. So that's his inspiration, and all his levels are fucking impossible. But they're really interesting, and it's just cool that it's like, oh yeah, like like in playing video games, you know which developers you like and which people put out the sorts of games you like. So to then bring that down to your mates and be like, and knowing that certain people from your friend group make certain kinds of levels, there's just something really cool and interesting about that. And as you say, it's once you. The general gist I found is that if you get a code for one of your friends' levels, you then just tap on the little follow button, and then they appear in your like favorites list every time they put something new up, right? Mm-hmm. Which isn't too painful. It's still kind of annoying. It's like, say, why isn't there just already a friends feed of like people that it already knows are on your Switch friends list? So it could be easier, but it could be a lot worse as well, I guess.
Also, like sharing your code, like if you want to share the code to Twitter or something like that, it is a bit irritating because when you first upload the level, it flashes up on the screen like in like big, like this is the code for it. If you take a snapshot of that, that's great, and then you can tweet it. If you don't take a snapshot of it, it's really annoying to try and find out what that code was again. You have to like go in through your user profile and then like go through the maps and then try and find it. It's very annoying. It's stuff like that. You'd think it'd be much easier if they just had a button on there that just said share, and then you could just like share it to like the other services. But obviously not. It's a shame.
But so, I've also heard loads of amazing things about this, and part of me has been a bit jealous of everyone over the weekend, and certainly like the start of this week sharing their levels, and I've been watching loads of GIFs and videos of other levels, but I really have no interest in making my own levels because they'll be rubbish, and I just wouldn't even know where to begin. But like, do you think there's enough, even for someone who would just like maybe I could enjoy the campaign? Or
yeah. I think
totally like and just like playing other people's stuff, like even if you're not interested in making stuff, I think there's just going to be so much to do there.
I mean, what's amazing about it is you can just switch it on quick and then just go to the course world, and then you could within seconds you just download a new level and just try it. If you're just bored for like a few minutes, you can just download something new and play it.
Yeah, because there's tabs for like I think there's like hot courses or something,
and that kind of thing.
So basically, you can just go in and like, right, what's everyone playing, really enjoying at the moment? Oh, it's this one, and then you'll spend 2 to 3 minutes playing something really cool or interesting, or maybe if it's a really hard one, you'll be on it for the next hour. It's great. Cool. Really, really.
And
good.
Have you guys been playing docked or handheld? Because I heard there's some issue. Is there like an issue or some? How do you control it when you're in handheld? Because for some reason I heard somewhere where there's like they make you do some touchscreen controls, or have I misheard that?
You can do it. So if it's docked, you have to use like controller to do everything, and it's doable, but it is also super fiddly and not that easy. Whereas if you play it like just in handheld mode, you can just use touchscreen controls, and it's so much easier to do that.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay,
it's
but that, I mean, just in terms of making stuff, I think actually playing it's fine either way, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, playing it's absolutely fine, but making stuff, it's much better in handheld mode.
And you got stylus, haven't you, Sean? But you haven't, James. Is that correct?
I haven't. No.
But you got one, haven't you,
tomorrow?
Sean?
So I already had a stylus from doing like Splatoon 2 stuff.
Oh, of course,
like drawing pictures and what have you. So so James is having my free one courtesy of game.
Oh,
and have you been enjoying that? Have you found it really great to do it, to use the stylus to make levels?
I haven't made anything yet.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I think I'm going to be an arsehole and insist on like going through all the tutorials first, because there's loads of them. Which I think there's very few that are just like, here is how everything actually works. But then there's a lot of like really interesting ones on like the finer points of level design and stuff, which I think is really cool. That stuff's in there. So I'm quite looking forward to digging through all of that first, to be honest. So yeah. Mario Maker 2. I mean, this is probably going to be an ongoing one, isn't it, James? I don't think we're going to be stopping this anytime soon. So
I need to make some new ones this week when I've got some time, because I do find it very enjoyable to put the levels together. It's just
that's what I keep hearing everyone saying. It's weirdly sort of meditative.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
And to get a level done, you've got to have finished it yourself, right? That's
right. Yeah.
Qualifying for
which is great, because when you're playing a level that someone else has made and it's really hard. Like obviously, it like just in terms of fairness, of course, it's right that it makes the maker of the level complete it before they can upload it. But it also like removes a lot of the frustration because you just sort of every time you die, you just something like, well, it is definitely possible. There's no way it isn't possible. Like, so you just like, I just need to practice. I just need to keep going.
Yeah, I've seen some GIFs even today where I'm like, I mean, obviously these levels are finished, and the GIFs often or videos show someone finishing a level, but you're like, how is this even possible? And like, they're waiting ages because there's loads of things happening on screen. There's like a very, very tiny window to squeeze for a certain section before enemies or some other obstacles try and kill them. It's been amazing just watching the videos, frankly.
Yeah, and there's really cool levels that like look really impressive, but they're literally like, you hold to the right and the sprint button and then occasionally jump. And just there's all just mad shit going on all around you. It's just they're really fun as well. So yeah, I as James says, there are issues. It's some very Nintendo design decisions. But yeah, I'm really glad I've got it so far.
Do you two both see this as what potentially over the next couple of years, like could be one of your most played games on Switch? What do you think, James?
I think probably, especially if they add events, I think that would really help because it's so good. Like going back for that every week, that there's something new, to like check out and everything. Because the trouble, and also the problem is that obviously it's brilliant that everyone's making like loads of content, but then also there is a lot of dross, as I said, that is going to appear, and it depends on how well they manage all of that. To be honest, and how.
Yeah, because So you can do like the challenge where it just throws random levels at you, and you just got to get as far as you can.
Yeah.
And like you can set your difficulty. So I just out of curiosity, I just set it to easy just to see what happened, and God, you just get a lot of really boring levels.
Mm-hmm.
Like ones that are like really obviously been made by children. So I'm definitely being harsh, but like you just sort of run forwards and then do a couple of jumps and kill some enemies, and you get to the end, and you're like, right, okay.
Yeah. Asher did one and uploaded it, and I think it's Harry like.
Oh my god! I saw Dave's video of it. It was horrendous.
It was rubbish. It was a terrible level because he's still at that stage where it's just like, I'm going to dump everything on the screen at once, and it's like, and so he just like put it on there, and then he got Harry to play it, and then Harry was just Dave was like, "Oh, was it good?" And he's like, "No," and it's absolutely honest. It's
yeah.
But he's having a great time just like putting stuff together. But he's still at that stage of just like, I need to put everything in this that I possibly can. It's not good.
But you see, rather that than like me who's paralysed by indecision and like, oh, if I want to learn everything first, I don't just want to. Fuck it, just have a go. Why not?
So these levels, Asher and I think Harry's also doing some like. They might put a million enemies on the screen, but like they can't publish them unless they're completed, right?
Yeah, you can. It's easy. It's easy to do because it's like the one Asher built. He like first of all, he just put all the enemies on the screen at the same time with a couple of platforms to jump across, and it was impossible. There's no way you'd be able to do it. So then I just said to him, look, just put like a mushroom there or something. So then all you have to do is get the mushroom. You get hit, but then you're invincible enough time to like run through to the end. So it's totally possible to complete it. It's just rubbish.
Amazing.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
Brilliant. I've only got one more to talk about. This week I played and finished in one go. Draugen or Draugen. I don't know, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong either way. So this is a new, I want to say narrative adventure, not a walking simulator. Fuck off. It's by Red Thread Games. So this is the studio that did Dreamfall, The Longest Journey, the sort of chapter based. I've never got into the whole Longest Journey thing, and it's always sort of eluded me. I don't know if either of you are familiar with it.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So there was The Longest Journey, and then there was Dreamfall, which was like a sequel, but not like it's sort of tangentially related. And then there was Dreamfall Chapters, which was sort of ran from like 2014 to 2016. And it's meant to be really good. Like I know some people who absolutely adore it, but it's just not something I've ever got into. And then, so they put this out, Draugen, which is, so it's this sort of first-person sort of narrative adventure where it's set in the 1920s in the Norwegian fjords, and you basically go to this village in search of your sister, and it's just you. This isn't a spoiler. It's just you and this girl who's sort of, I don't know. I guess she's like the Watson to your Holmes. Like she just sort of follows you around and suggests things, and it's kind of annoying to be honest. But like you arrive at this village and there's no one there, And it's all about figuring out what happened to the village and where, trying to find your sister. And I really, really enjoyed this. It's absolutely stunning to look at, for one thing, and it really benefits. Like, most of the game basically just takes place in this one village. But as a result, they've like really doubled down on it. Like, it's absolutely beautiful. Like, the lighting is just ridiculous. Like, you're sort of looking out and into the sort of the fjord, and there's like these huge mountains either side of it, and like it's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, it's like, obviously you're playing through it, and it's like, okay, I have arrived somewhere mysterious, expecting to find family, and there is nobody here, so that's gone home. There's like, it sort of does this. There's this idea that there was a curse on the village, and it's kind of like, it treads similar ground to What Remains of Edith Finch, and that it's like, well, is there a curse, or is it just that people decided there was one, and then suddenly every time something bad happens, it's like, oh, it's the curse. And it kind of, without spoiling it, and I would still really recommend people play it, like, the central mystery of it is kind of sidelined by the end, and it doesn't quite, like, it's sort of left to your interpretation, which is fine. But like, it, sort of halfway through the game, it does, there's a bit of dialogue between the two characters where Lissa, the young girl that you're with, she's like, it's like, oh, this is like this really exciting, fun mystery, and your character's like, look, this isn't like this. It's like, this is real life. This isn't like a Agatha Christie novel where there's going to be like a series of clues, and then we'll come to a satisfying conclusion at the end. And you sort of think, yeah, but this isn't real life. It's a computer game, and it is a work of fiction. So you don't. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it seems a bit crass to be like, but no, this isn't like just a storybook. It's like, yeah, but it kind of is, though, isn't it?
But isn't it nice to have a game where it isn't like, okay, everything's wrapped up? I mean, those always been my favourite types of movies or books or TV shows where
absolutely, yeah, thinking. Yeah, exactly.
Some people hate that. Some people hate the ambiguity at the end of something where they're like, what did he say at the end of this film or that book?
Yeah, no, totally. I know what you mean. It was just in this instance, it's the way that like that sort of central mystery is sort of, it sort of gives way to the drama between the two sort of main characters that you actually sort of like you and this girl that you're with, like that sort of takes over towards the end, which is good because, as I say, yeah, Lissa is kind of irritating at first, and I didn't really get on with her voice actor either.
Yeah, the voice acting is weird. I mean, I've seen loads of this game because Limmy streamed it a few months ago.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, so it was well worth watching that again. But so I watched most of this, and I saw the ending and stuff.
Yeah,
See, the voice acting is strange.
I saw that you'd played this, Sean, because I saw your tweet about it, and I mean, this looks exactly like something I'd want to play. What did you play it on? Was it on?
So I played on PC. I don't think it's on console yet. I think it's like another month or two off.
Oh, okay. I wondered.
But I would really recommend it. Like, especially for the fact that it only took about 3 hours, and then
that's nice. When that happens,
yeah,
so you've got like
big fan of that. And yeah, soundtrack's beautiful. And yeah, it was just a really nice thing, like a nice place to be for 3 hours. It does sort of, again, it does the sort of gone home thing of like, oh, maybe there's supernatural elements and maybe it's a bit of a horror game. Like, I've seen some write-ups that do actually refer to it as like a horror game, which is not accurate at all. It's more of a sort of Hitchcock style sort of thriller. Like, yeah, there are sort of tense bits, and there's like one bit where it's like, oh, you're not sure if you're having a nightmare. It's all a bit surreal. I suppose they found a little bit unnecessary, but I mean, that's me. I'm just like averse to anything even remotely frightening or unsettling. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's certainly not a horror game, and it was very strange to see people judge it as one. But yeah, I properly enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it. Like, when it comes to console, definitely check it out. And apparently there's going to be more of it, which is nice because, again, some of those sort of not fully explained story elements, you can kind of wave it off as in like, oh, well, they'll come to that in the sequel probably. So, yeah, really enjoyed it. Really keen to see what they do next with it.
Awesome. You mentioned Edith Finch there. That they confirmed the Switch release actually comes out this Thursday.
Oh yeah.
So if you're listening and haven't played What Remains of Edith Finch, it's absolutely fantastic. Definitely one of my favourite games. Was it 2017?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Obviously, can't really comment on what it's like on Switch, but it's such a brilliant game. If you haven't played it already, definitely recommend
so good. It's like the one I still recommend if people are like, I've heard walking simulators are good, but I am not sure if I would like them. Edith Finch is the one, I reckon.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, really, really good. But that's it for me. James, you got any more?
I've got two things, but they're quite brief because Matt talked about one of them like extensively last week. I mean, this is the Cadence of Hyrule.
Right, it's no to get personal, James. No to put another dig in.
So anyway,
you're not Stuart Baker. You don't think you are.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt. Anyway, this game, I mean, last week I said that I'd played it a bit and I wasn't that sure about it. And I went back to it and I started playing it and then I got annoyed again and then I deleted it because I just thought, I don't know if I want to play this game. But then after listening to your experience, Matt, and then also they talked about it on the Player One podcast about what you needed to do, like where you need to get like upgrades and everything, I thought I'd give it another try. And I'm kind of glad I did because once I got over that initial difficulty hurdle, because you know, Matt, did you ever get the spear in this game?
I did get it on one of the dungeons. By that point, I was quite happy with my short sword, which was doing no damage.
I can't believe you played that game with just like this, because this is definitely why. You know, you said like people seem to be finding it very easy, and you were not, and it's definitely because you were playing it without any upgrades or anything. Because
I found an obsidian short sword, and I was like, okay, this is doing better damage, but I didn't really do much other than that.
No, I mean, after I got the spear and like a couple of heart upgrades, it was not difficult at all. Like the game, I mean, even like you said like about the rhythm, how the rhythm, you know, it matters, but it's not like really slavishly sort of, you know, like mattering like too much. And it's like it felt like that as well by the end. And I mean, what I did first was I unlocked the whole map, and then I started doing the dungeons, and the dungeons, you know, because they're all like randomly generated, but they always follow the same structure, and so I didn't really find them that satisfying. So I think the dungeon stuff wasn't so good.
It's a randomised layout, but they're the same structure in that basically there's essentially like 3 stairwells you need to find, and those essentially take you, and then you find a boss key, and then you go to the boss room. I mean, back to the upgrades. I mean, I got loads of heart upgrades. That was the one thing I was focused on doing. So it wasn't like I didn't get any heart upgrades. I got almost all of them, in fact. I just didn't do the things where I didn't like upgrade my weapon. Like you can meet like the fairy, and you can either do that stuff as well.
Yeah, you can do that, and then also, you know, when you die, you get like options of things that you want to take back in with you, and
so you can buy them other things. Yeah, you're spending diamonds. Yeah,
I mean they're the main things to get. Like in the beginning, like if you buy like the spear and you buy like there's also health upgrades as well. It makes it so much easier. And then also if you pick up bottles as well, because then you can fill them with like potions and stuff. You know,
yeah,
like
I never found one bottle. So if you find like a bottle, you can maybe have like a health upgrade to give all your hearts back if you're suddenly dying. That's the idea, right? Yeah, I didn't find them bottles.
I mean, I to be honest though, Matt, I'm in awe that you managed to finish it like without any upgrades, because even with like the upgrades I had, like the final couple of bosses took me a couple of attempts to do it.
And then I found an amazing weapon in the last area, but I mean it was ridiculously hard for me, but I just carried on. Did you didn't find the dungeons satisfying? What do you think about the bosses? Because I thought the bosses were good, but I found them quite challenging. But lots of people read online and said the bosses are so easy it's almost a disappointment.
I wouldn't say they were terribly challenging, but I did kind of. I mean, as a visual spectacle, I enjoyed them, and I enjoyed like trying to figure out, obviously, what the sort of the method was to get through each one, even though it was quite easy, with that. But it's still kind of fun. I mean, it's just the beat mechanic was superb, and the music obviously was great. So I was happy like playing through this once I'd figured out how to actually get through it. But I don't feel any need at all to play Crypt. Is it Crypt of the NecroDancer?
That's the one. Yeah.
I have no feeling that I ever want to play that game, because this felt about right for me. It's like it was difficult enough that I really enjoyed it. It had all the Zelda stuff, which was fantastic, and I felt like I had a good time and it was worth the money. But I feel done with that now, because I've heard that Crypt of the NecroDancer is significantly harder, and I wouldn't be up for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be up for that.
Did you do much swapping between the characters?
Nope, I never did that. I stuck with Link the whole time.
I didn't do it apart from right at the end where, but Okay. So I wondered again if that was me also being stupid that I didn't do that, and maybe I should have done that at certain sections.
No, it's all about the weapon upgrades, but still, absolutely superb game. I really enjoyed it. The only other thing I've played is I've played some of Judgment, which I got last week, and I mean I was very excited to start this, but I've barely played it because Mario Maker came out, and then also it was the weekend. I mean, so far, I enjoyed like the first half an hour of it that I've played so far because it is, going back to Kamurocho, and that again is fantastic. But I'm a bit disappointed that they've used a lot of the same animations as in Yakuza 6. Like it has the same when you get into like fights, it does. There are like new stuff as well, but there's also bits which are like repeated from like the Yakuza games, and I thought that's a bit of a shame, really, because you think they'd like mix it up a bit, but they haven't. But I've not even scratched the surface with this game yet, so I can't give any opinion on it yet, really. Apart from it looks fantastic, and it's got all the atmosphere as usual, so it'll be good.
Cool.
And that's it.
Emails then.
Go for it, mate. Oh no, it's me, isn't it?
James, for fuck's sake.
How many
Completely forgot.
times?
I know, we've only been doing this for like 150 odd episodes, haven't we? Totally forgot.
It's hard to remember.
Oh, it's a long one as well. Who's put this one in here? It's okay, right.
I mean, my main concern is that it's not actually a question, but go on.
That's what I'm worried about. I mean, okay. Right, I haven't even read it yet, so this is going to be interesting. If you want to email us, it's podcast@thecomputergameshop.com. Mike has emailed in and he said, "Evening, chaps. Hang on, I think I know why this is in here. This is because it's praising Matt Murray." So
actually, I should have put this in feedback, but I just saw email, so I just automatically put it in here.
Okay.
I just wanted to issue a glowing thanks to your own Matt Murray for unknowingly enriching my life.
Yeah, I didn't read that bit. Okay.
Several months ago, Matt tweeted enthusiastically about a video from a newish YouTube channel at the time that I've not heard of, Girlfriend Reviews. For those who don't know, the channel does reviews of games from the perspective of the titular girlfriend, giving her thoughts on games she's watching her boyfriend play. It's a funny, very well produced channel and I've enjoyed it a lot. Shortly after that, I met my girlfriend. She's not a gamer, but she's perfectly happy with me gaming when we're hanging out. She told me a story of winding up one of her exes when he was weeks into an Assassin's Creed game and she was bored of him playing it. I showed her the girlfriend reviews video of an Assassin's Creed Odyssey and she loved it. We binged through the rest of their videos until we reached The Last of Us. She'd never heard of it, but she said it looked interesting. I picked up a copy of The Last of Us Remastered and the following weekend we played through it. She was enraptured from start to finish. The story and the character performances gripped her, and she thought it was great fun to give me tactical advice while I was sneaking around clickers for hours on end. We then tried God of War. She adored that game. Again, just loving the strong performances in the cutscenes, the setting, the lore, and the spectacle of the combat. When we finished the story, she was even a little emotional. I've loved playing these games through again with her as my co-pilot. Without seeing those videos, she wouldn't have had considered the idea that some games could be fun or engaging as a backseat gamer. So thanks, Matt. For one random treat, you give me a wonderful way to share the hobby I love with women that I love. Regards, Mike.
That's fine, Mike.
So well done, Matt.
Have you two watched any girlfriend review stuff?
No.
Oh, I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the. I remember you linked us to one of them early on, didn't you?
Yeah, I think
it's pretty good.
Yeah, that might be like the Spider-Man one, but yeah, it's really fun. I mean, like I don't know if it's like being revealed who they actually are, but the idea was that they're learning YouTube and learning video editing, so let's put stuff together. But it seems it's so well written. It's like I don't know. I wonder who they really are. It doesn't feel like just a random couple, and yeah, it could be, of course, but yeah, they're really well produced. They're really, really funny from the off. I super recommend them. They're great.
Yeah, it was kind of because when you first linked me to it, I was a bit like, is this like? Oh, obviously I'm a girl, so I can't possibly actually like games, but it's really not. Like
no,
that
it's not
at
all,
is
no.
It's
yeah, but then like they started doing Twitch stuff, and I watched them, and like they're also just as funny on Twitch. So, I mean, in my mind, it's probably like there's no camera, by the way, on their Twitch channel. So I'm like, I mean, what comedians are these that are like done this gaming channel as like an experiment? But anyway, they're excellent. So I super recommend that. And thanks for the email, Mike. Yeah,
like I said, I was sort of worried that it was perpetuating the stereotype that it's like, oh well, it's the man that plays the games. And the girl just watches. But yeah, it's not like that.
Okay, Lucas Q has written in and said, alright chaps, any tips on making Days Gone a more bearable experience? Any skills that will help speed up the campaign? Are the nests actually worth clearing out? Okay, I'll answer this bit first before I get to the next bit. No, not really. If you're not enjoying it at all, then probably you're not going to enjoy it for like the 80 hours or whatever it takes to finish it. It is worth burning the nests out because it then makes it much easier to like travel around the map. When you go from place to place, it's better to do that. Thinking about skills, not really.
I would definitely recommend. Is it called Focus Shot? The one where you basically get like slow mo. You go basically get bullet time.
I never used that mode. Oh. No. It's,
that's especially at the beginning. That's worth doing because then you have more time if enemies start running at you, and you can upgrade that to give yourself even more time, and the headshots give you more of that time as well. So I think that's a good one to start off on.
I think also, in the beginning, I put a lot of my stuff.
In the beginning,
there you go. Yeah, I put a lot of my points into like melee skills, which helped, I think, in the beginning when you don't have access to such good weapons. But later on, it gets a lot easier because you do get like much better weapons that you can play with. So, but if you're not enjoying it, then although I don't know, because I still think the game takes about sort of 15 hours to get going, really, and then it sort of clicks. But it does take a while. You have to sort of stick with it. Then he continues by saying, also, is anyone likely to go back and finish Sekiro? Not sure how far, if at all, any of you fellas got, but the last boss took me 10 hours, so sharing that pain would always be welcome.
I've not even got any interest in starting it, never mind finishing it. I don't know how you guys are feeling.
It's unlikely, I think. I'd go back to it at this stage.
I started it, and I will go back to it at some point. I don't know. Right now, I have no real interest to go back to it. I'm sure I will. I think I'm probably going to go through ultimately all the Souls games and Soulsborne games at some point, and I'll probably go through this, but not right now. I don't really. There's too many other good things to play, and I don't really want to do that right now.
I think we're going to get so much shit on the Game of the Year show.
There is that. Yeah. Well, one of us has to finish it then.
Nah, it's fine. Just leave it.
Yeah. Come on, James.
Okay, Ben Kerschel says, what are your thoughts on EA not even bothering with FIFA on the Switch this time round and only releasing a Legacy Edition? Thankfully, Nintendo had respect enough for its audience not to even mention it on the Direct. James is going to have to beef up those rookie numbers of rebuys to keep it in the Switch charts this year. So I think
believe this when they're releasing another Legacy Edition. I guess they've looked at the previous figures and actually no one buys FIFA on Switch, or it's not worth the development. But
when they cut the price, it's always in the top 10 pretty quickly. There are people obviously that want to play it on there. I'd like to play it on there if it was anywhere near as good as the PS4 and Xbox One versions, but unfortunately it's not. And that's because my feeling with this is it's probably because they can't get Frostbite to work on the Switch, and it's just not worth investing any more time or money into this.
Because I think it wasn't Battlefield at one point supposed to be coming to Switch, and then they said it can't happen.
They probably just figured out that Frostbite's awful and just not going to bother, which is kind of a shame.
So I guess if they'd put more effort into it and also got the engine working, people would play it and buy it more. But because they're not, people aren't, and then they're like, well, it's not selling.
Yeah.
So what does Legacy Edition actually mean in this?
It means
regard?
It's exactly the same as last season's one. They just changed the kits. That's it, and the names of who's in the teams. That's it.
Amazing.
Okay.
It's literally like a roster update. It's ridiculous, and then you have to pay for it. It's completely stupid.
That's not full price, is it?
Yeah, of course it's full price.
Wow.
They've been doing this for years, Matt. It's been like this because they did this on Xbox and PS3. After a while, they always start releasing legacy versions.
They were £10 cheaper than the PS4 versions, though, weren't they?
Maybe, but that's only because of the disparity between the platforms anyway by that point.
Maybe.
Whereas this, they won't do it with this. This will still be full price. Definitely.
Shocking. But
EA
I guess this isn't going to change until the next Switch consoles, the next major handhelds out, and then maybe that'll be more powerful to handle the engine. But
it's weird, isn't it? Because EA don't seem to have. They've got hardly anything. Or have they got anything apart from FIFA on Switch?
I don't know.
I can't think of any. I know they've got Okay, they had. Was it Untangled? What's that? That one that they came out.
Unraveled.
Unraveled, yeah. Is that on Switch? From what I remember.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe they've got a couple of games like that,
maybe not.
But nothing else. No, sort of. Mind you, they haven't had a lot of good releases recently, have they? I guess because most of their stuff's all games as a service, isn't it? So it doesn't really fit with the Switch for some reason. Yeah. Okay, I'm rambling. Let's move on. SMW says, what's the worst lie you have told or worst thing you have done to get out of doing something you didn't want to do? P.S. I hope James's heat stroke is better.
Good question.
Oh God, I can't think. I I got out. This wasn't something I actually did, or a lie, but I did get out of a family meal because my wife was really ill the other week, and I was, that was one silver lining to the whole thing.
And you told her that when she was ill, like, well, the good thing is at least I'm not going to that meal, eh?
Yeah, at least we're not going to the dinner with your family.
I mean, so how is it? Is the heat stroke better now, James?
Yes.
Were you being sick, or did you just not want to play?
I wasn't being sick, but I felt horrible. It was horrible, that experience. I had to spend an entire day at a sports day. It's ridiculous. It's a blooming junior school sports day that lasts all day. What are they thinking?
I can't believe
that is a lot. That is a lot, to be fair. I can't think of it. Like, I'm sure there are things. I've definitely told lies to get out of stuff. But off the top of my head, I mean, am I alone in really enjoying last-minute cancelled plans?
Oh no, that's the best.
The best, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing better. It's like, we got some plans on the weekend. So actually, we can't make it. I was like, come on, if like one of us gets a text like half an hour before, it's like, is it? It is. Oh, come on, let's go.
Because it's great, isn't it? Because then it feels like you've got free time, like you've got your time back or something.
Yeah, it's like proper bonus time. Yeah. Do you
but then you go and actually have a great time. You're like, well,
yeah.
No.
But sometimes it's brilliant.
Do you ever sometimes like arrange to do something like a week later, and then when it's like the day before, and you think like, they haven't texted me to check if it's still on. Maybe they've forgotten, and you just leave it, and they never get in touch, and it's fine.
That happens to us, but I never leave it. Like Jill might say, "Well, hang on, they haven't texted us." I'm like, "You've got to text them because I can't be here at like 10 to 4 thinking, well, they might be expecting us. Let's at least confirm it one way or the other." There's no way. What? So you actually seriously just leave it and hope you don't get a call saying, "Well, you're late."
Yeah. No, just
Oh my god, you're not
they did genuinely forget. Or they equally were hoping that I wasn't going to text them. See, that's the thing. If you think like, oh no, I'll be responsible and I'll just send them a text. What if they're sitting at home like, oh, I hope he doesn't text me?
Yeah,
he's forgotten.
Very possible. But there's no way I could be sitting at home. I couldn't be enjoying myself because I'm like, well, hang on, they might wonder where we are. They might be texting. That would not. I believe I'll be at home chewing my nails. That would not be an enjoyable time off at all.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. Alex Blob has emailed us, and he said, "You've all spoken of the time constraints and limitations over the time you can possibly play video games, and yet even the wise and weekend-hating James Farley confesses that he enjoys 20 hours of wandering around unsure of your objective and location. Over the last couple of months, I purchased a few of the aforementioned Metroidvanias, such as Hollow Knight and Guacamelee, and I haven't managed to progress past the 6-hour mark on any of them. After some more positive gushings over the wonderfully stylised Hollow Knight in the last episode, I was spurred to write this email to ask how you managed to motivate yourself to complete these kind of games, and when you believe they click together, which gives you the satisfaction of making progress. I have no issue with sinking hundreds of hours into large open-world games like Witcher 3 and Fallout, but Metroidvanias defeat me in mere hours. Thanks for taking the time to read this, and any insight would be appreciated." That's Alex.
Also, one thing, I mean, like Guacamelee is an excellent game, but that's only like 10 or so hours, whereas like Hollow Knight is not like a 60-hour game.
If you want the better endings, it's huge.
Also, Guacamelee, doesn't it point you where to go next and everything as well?
Yeah, it pretty much does. Yeah. So Guacamelee, I mean, like that's worth pushing on because it's not a terribly long game. But it might just be that he's not massively into Metroidvania games. I mean, not everyone is. Some people, it doesn't do well for them having to backtrack when you've got like a new skill and like having to juggle these various things. Where have I been there? Do I need to go there? Have I got the various skill set to access that area? It might just be that you're not into them. But I think even with those two examples, particularly, I think they seem like quite different. Hollow Knight, I mean, I haven't played it. I do want to give it a go, but that feels like a much, much more vast Metroidvania. Guacamelee feels like it's a much smaller.
It's definitely bigger than Guacamelee, I think. But
absolutely.
I think for me, a lot of this is all about it's the atmosphere that I get from these games, which I don't feel that I get entirely from open world games because of the fact they're 2D. There's still an element of using your own sort of imagination and feeling when you're playing the games that you don't. It's not all sort of spelled out to you as much as it is when you play open world. And that's why I enjoy the exploration of these, and especially when they have like amazing music. It feels like you're getting lost in a world which is almost like reading a book or something, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And so often it feels like we met a lot of Metroidvanias. It feels like there's definitely this sense that you're the first person or creature or whatever to inhabit some of these places in a long time. Like you sort of like really, there's this real sense that you're uncovering things as you go, and like it's that sort of that act of exploration and finding new places, but then getting new abilities and then being able to go back to old places and reinterpret them with the the new rules and abilities that you've got. So it's just this sort of endlessly sort of overlapping thing, which I find really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's certainly why I'm into them. But like Matt says, you might just not like them, and that's okay.
It does sometimes take a while for them to click as well. Like with Hollow Knight, it is tough. Like in the beginning, to try and figure out like what you're supposed to do, and then it does click. Yeah. But for me, the reason it clicked was because of the atmosphere, and I just loved it so much. Like hearing that music and just exploring, just felt so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of like Metroidvanias, I mean, if you haven't already, you should definitely try Yoku's Island Express. That is another Metroidvania, but that's got a really lovely feel, and I'll be very surprised if you can stop playing that, because it's an excellent game. That's actually coming out on Game Pass very soon. I'm not sure if it's out now, but they announced it come out for like PC and stuff, and PC and Xbox Game Pass very, very soon.
Cool.
That's it. That's the end of our emails.
Sweet. Tweets. It's at Computer Game Pod if you want to tweet us on Twitter. Adam Staff, how red are you after the weekend, and what's the most sunburnt you've been?
So I don't know if this must have come up on the show before. So I have vitiligo, which basically means my immune system thinks that the pigmentation in my skin is a disease and it kills it. So I am... like I get a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, I don't tan either." No, I literally have no colouring in my skin.
But that's weird, though, Sean, because I know you told me that before, but I wouldn't ever like class you as pale.
It's because I'm sort of pink instead. Like it's sort of, and like and basically, so literally like 20-30 minutes in direct sunlight will do me. So
it's
I have
like
to be really careful.
Uncooked sausage. Basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But except, since I do cook extraordinarily quickly. So there's been a couple of incidents where I've been caught out without sunscreen or whatever, and like full on heat stroke is fucking bad. It's been like I've had to like get in the bath with cold water and ice and stuff.
Oh my god!
Because the problem is you only really, like, heat stroke is one of those things, you only really look it up when you're suffering from it, and you're feeling like absolute shit, and you're reading a thing that's like, oh yeah, so what's happened is your body temperature's actually been knocked out of whack a bit, to the point that your body's own ability to regulate its temperature also isn't really working. So that's why suddenly like you'll feel boiling and then really cold and then hot again, and just kind of everything's just slowing down and stopping. And so it's pretty horrible, as James knows.
Yeah, I mean, James, I imagine you being a man that's been caught out with no sunscreen many a time.
Well, is that an innuendo or something, Matt?
No.
Okay.
Why would that be innuendo?
I mean, if it was, but please explain it.
I don't know. That's why I was trying to work it out. It just sounded like you were building to a joke there, and I don't know what it was.
No, tell me about your adventures with no sunscreen.
Well, no, because the only time this has happened was this last weekend. Because generally, I don't burn like in the sun, and like we've lived in other places where it's like really hot, and it's not happened. But it turns out that when we were living there, I still had hair, and now because I'm losing my hair, it now seems that parts of my body that have not been exposed to the sun, i.e., my massive bald patch on the back of my head, doesn't like the sun very much, and it got totally torched, and it was horrible, and it still hurts actually at the moment. So
is it peeled yet?
Yes, that's happened.
Oh, the peeling, man, that properly goes through me.
But it's really odd, because I don't like my arms, and anywhere else is fine. Like my face is generally not too bad, but it's just the head. It's just it doesn't like it. So
it was caps.
Yeah, I bought a cap actually.
Good.
Yeah, I bought one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it was last summer where I realised sunscreen was having to go like all over the top, not just face and neck.
That's. I mean, this tweet is probably reference to the fact that I got burnt over the weekend, and when I came on the Bloodborne stream last night, it was patently obvious that I'd maybe enjoyed the sun.
You look quite red. Like bits of...
I'm so red now. I mean, I went out, like, had a barbecue on Saturday. I was at the beach on Sunday, and I just didn't put enough sun cream on. Because, I mean, I know this is like bad, and I should put loads on, but, like, I want to get a bit of a tan, and so I put, like, a little bit on. I'm sure, I haven't really looked into it, but I'm sure decent sunscreen also allows you to get a tan, as well as protecting your skin from the harmful rays. But I'm like, well, I'll put a little bit on. And I wore a hat most of the time, but also I just like, oh, fuck it, I want a nice little tan. And quite red now, actually. But you know, in a few days' time, I'm going to it's going to be banging, so I'm not so worried. In terms of, I mean, I've been burnt a fuckload because this happened to me many times. But the worst time is I was at the F1 a few years ago, and it was the British Grand Prix. It was pissing down so much all weekend that our campsite got flooded. We had this like amazing place we were supposed to camp up, and it's going to have like a mini like concert there, and food vans and all that got flooded to the point where everyone who was camping in that campsite had to be moved down the road to some random place. Cars were getting stuck in the mud and it had to be dragged out by tractors. It was that bad.
This sounds amazing.
So obviously, you know, and this is basically pissing down all weekend. So obviously, well, you know, I don't need to pack all like the shorts and t-shirts and other sun equipment that I had packed. Here, the weather's going to be good. No need. And then about half an hour after the race started on the Sunday, the clouds disappeared and it got incredibly sunny. And I was so burnt, my head swelled up.
Whoa!
I've still got a picture. Maybe I'll put it on Twitter, but. It was so bad. It's like me and May James, but both got absolutely done because we're like, well, we're not going to need sun cream. Like, well, we'd been wearing full waterproofs and wellies for the entire weekend, and suddenly, the clouds opened and we're absolutely done in by that sun. Good times. Yeah, I mean, but I should look after stuff. I used to actually be one of my things at university. I was sort of semi-addicted to sunbeds.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was. I was on them like loads. I was on loads, and to the point where my friends are quite concerned about it. Like go on, James. What's your question?
I wasn't expecting you to say that at all. I just can't imagine that.
I knew you weren't.
I mean, after the Wigs incident, this stuff doesn't surprise me. Plus, you know,
No,
part of me just wants to be like, yeah, well, fuck it, why not?
Yeah,
Matt, have you ever tried a fake tan, like a spray on tan or anything?
No. I haven't done like the spray on stuff. Just like the you going out the bed or like the stand up thing. Yeah, like we were all doing actually. It sort of felt nice, but anyway. But it got to the point where I also had a job at one point at university. And it got to the point where if I got home and I was like 10 minutes late from home, my housemate Liam's like, Matt, where have you been? Like, you've been on sunbeds? I was like, I haven't. They're like, come over here. And they're like, and they would smell me. Like, I can fucking smell sunbed on you. You don't stop doing that. It's dangerous. And I'm like, just 12 minutes. Like, it should be 9. Maximum of 9 minutes, Matt. Don't do 12. Oh. Yeah, I used to basically like either stand up or like sit down, but you basically went like full bollock naked, and it had like little weird like things over your eyes to protect your eyes. Yeah, you felt great after them. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Yeah,
because do you get like a vitamin D rush from it or something?
Like you feel a bit like when you come back from the holiday, you just feel a bit nice. Yeah. Anyway, but that's pretty dangerous.
I mean, I'm into ASMR, so I can't judge. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, imagine doing that in a tanning booth.
Oh, that's too much, mate.
Yeah,
that's
I used
too
to
much
have,
pleasure.
Because basically in Middlesbrough when we went to uni, there were loads of these like tanning places. I'm sure there's loads now. Actually, to be fair, I just don't really see them as much. But yeah, I like got pally with the people there. I had like credit, so I'd just go in and say, yeah, go just take off the account.
Amazing.
Oh, stupid man.
See,
but
Matt, I'm just imagining you with a non-surgical hairpiece. And
I had hair then.
And a spray on tan.
It's not spray on it. It's like it's rays. Well, no. Have you two not seen a picture of me looking like a Spanish pool boy?
No.
Oh, haven't you?
No.
Oh, this is one of the all-time great photos of me. Have I not shown you? Seriously. hang on. Right, I'll maybe add this out. I'm going to put this in the chat so I can get your reaction live.
Okay.
How am I going to? Where is it? It can't be too far. It's probably my favourites folder, surely. Yeah. So I used to absolutely. Okay, right. This is the first one. This is me, Sunburn, F1.
Uh-huh.
That's coming in the chat now. And then I'll find the other one.
Oh my god!
Which chat's this going in?
In WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Oh, in WhatsApp. Okay.
And then there's the other one after.
Oh wow! Look at that tiny tanned boy.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same age as those other two guys in that picture.
You look like you're about 4 foot.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a whole reason behind that, but it's probably too off TV. But we'll,
I love that you've got that threadless T-shirt that everyone's had at some point.
Oh yeah,
as well.
I know. I mean, this was 2002, but yeah, I had the Pants T-shirt.
Yeah, classic.
Come on, I wish you had a moustache there, Matt. That would be perfect.
I do have pictures of me with a moustache at uni, but these are all stories that I can't tell on this show. I mean, yeah, and that stuff. I mean, sorry to do this, but that's probably like Patreon stuff because less people are going to hear those stories. I'm not going to tell that shit on there. It's mental. Yep. And that's it. Actually, that's it. That's it for questions. If you want to leave us a question, it's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter.
That's it then. That's us.
Yeah,
We're done.
That's the pod.
Finito. Are you going to do the plugs bit, Matt?
Oh yeah, probably should. Yeah, we're streaming 3 times a week on Twitch these days. Friday, James is hopefully, if he stays out of the sun for 5 minutes, he'll be playing Quantum Break this Friday night at 9:00. Are you still enjoying that game, James?
Loving it. Absolutely.
Are you going to be watching an episode of Quantum Break this Friday?
Almost certainly, yeah. That will be happening.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's Friday night at 9 p.m, twitch.tv/The Computer Game Show. I am playing Bloodborne every Sunday from 8:30. I killed Ludwig finally this Sunday.
Nice.
I had to summon an NPC. Wasn't happy about it, but it's done. I'll move on. And on Tuesday nights, Sean is streaming indie games or whatever he chooses. That's Tuesday nights from 9. So that's that. If you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime, and with that you get 1 free subscription to a Twitch channel every single month. And we'd really, really appreciate it if you went over to our Twitch channel, either in the app or probably easier on desktop or certainly in the browser. But go there, give us your free subscription. They don't auto-renew, so if you've done it before, after 30 days, it'd be great if you came back and did it again. And that money really, really massively helps us. So thank you ever so much for people who do subscribe. And if you haven't already or haven't linked your accounts, think about doing it. It's a free subscription. I mean, basically Amazon are mugging you off if you don't do it because they're expecting you just to forget about it. So, you know, show their moves, boss.
Yeah,
and
mate.
go over to our channel and subscribe.
Take them to the cleaners.
Yeah, we will massively appreciate it. In other content news, Star Calls obviously is out every Monday. New episode comes out. This week's episode, Dave has seen episode 1. It's a must. It's a must listen, and that's it pretty much. Go to thecomputergameshow.com if you want to see other stuff we do and all our other social channels and this and the other. I think that's it.
Cool. I mean, yeah, it's bonus show recording week, isn't it? This week.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So that's going to be out.
So, yeah, I should probably mention Patreon. Yeah, patreon.com/TCGS if you want to listen to our Patreon-exclusive podcast, 2 of TV, absolutely. And then you can also get early access to our TCGS Talks Over, where we've the one we've done most recently is of the Wii U announcement. Yeah. So, but
we haven't decided what we're doing next, have we?
Next week or so.
I haven't decided which one we're talking over next. I'm excited.
Yeah, we need to do it, actually, don't we? We do need to do it.
Yeah, we do. Right, cool. That's us. A relatively short one for once, and I'm glad because I'm very tired.
Yeah, James is happy.
Yeah, James already gone to bed. It's fine.
I'm going to go and play Judgment now.
Right, thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next week. And thank you for letting us be natural. Good night.
Good night.
Goodbye.